As far as Liverpool are concerned, I mean, all the games for Liverpool were the greatest games because Liverpool's the greatest team. I think that the greatest night at Anfield against the unofficial champions of the world was when we'd won the cup on the Saturday, and on the Monday night we played the great International of Milan in Anfield, and we won 3-1. The gates were closed, and we beaten the team that was considered the champions of the world. They'd won the European Cup and the South American Championship playoff, the club match, and we beat them 3-1 at Anfield. And I've never known such an atmosphere, because the cup had been brought out to Anfield for the first time. We were playing International at Milan with the great Herrera, Suarez, Facchetti, great players, Jair, Mazzoli. They were players, they roll, and we won 3-1, and we could have won 4-1 because we had a goal disallowed. I think that's the greatest, maybe that's the greatest game I've seen. I think I'd have to say that the Real thing at Hampden was a procession. This wasn't really a procession. This was a game we were pitting our wits against the elite, and we beat them. And the fact that the Liverpool won the cup, I think all told, that must go down as the greatest game I've ever seen after won the cup. Atmosphere, excitement, above all football, and a ground that was dry and bare and bumpy, and not our pitch. It was a continental pitch maybe, but not ours. But Liverpool raised up that night their standard into a tremendous height, and Roger Hunt scored a goal. They hit it from about 3 feet high and scooped it, And Herrera said, that's not an English goal, that's a continental goal, which it was, you see. And this was all from the training sessions, the training boards at Melwood. Roger got this goal, he got a few that season from the training boards. He scooped them. So I think that I must change my mind and say that International of Milan at Anfield, after the cup final in '65, was the greatest game I've seen.
We haven't mentioned Pele. What did you think?
Oh, Pele was a great player. I mean, he must rank amongst them all. I mean, I say Tommy Finney's the greatest player I've ever seen, and I still say that Tommy Finney's the greatest player. But when you bracket him with Cruyff and Pele and Di Stefano and these people, I mean, they're all brilliant. I mean, it's actually, I don't like to separate them out, but Pele goes down amongst the greatest players of all time. Not only could he play with skill and ability, but he was as strong as an ox. I mean, he was a light heavyweight, a bone and muscle, and could run like a gazelle, a strong fella, like Eusebio. This is the same brackets. Maybe Eusebio was a little bit in front of him because he was taller and quicker. But Pele is a great player. Oh yeah, brilliant. That Brazil team was brilliant. They're next to Real, for me.
What about the great foreign players, Puskas?
Oh, Puskas, yeah, well, I saw Puskas in '53 with Hungary. I was at the game. Luckily, I was glad I was there because I remember a ball, it was the markings on it. As he was hitting it, it was propelling, and as it was reaching its target, it was spinning like Jack Nicklaus had a golf ball, And they could see the ball had reversed itself, and I could see the markings on the ball. As it reached its point, it might have been Hediguti, but it was approaching its target, it was slowing down. Like Wolfie Mannion did when I was playing, and all the same thing. The ball, as it reached its target, it was slowing down, ready to control. So that Puskas to do that. Puskas, he came here with a Greek team to play Everton, and they trained at our training ground. And he was giving them a training session. He was giving the goalkeeper some practice. And I was there, and I think all the Greeks in Liverpool were there, incidentally, because I got invitation to fish and chips with all of them for the rest of my life. And he put the ball in the 18-yard spot, in the centre of the 18 yards from goal, right in the centre. And he hit the ball with his left foot, a foot inside the post. He did it 12 times in succession. Hit the whole lot of them inside the post, a foot from the post.
This is comparatively...
He'd finished playing then. Yeah. So I don't know what he'd have done from 12 yards with a penalty. He lashed it just a few inches above the grass into the corner of the net, because I wanted to see him doing it, and he did it. Puskas, Hediguti could play. All the players could play. Real was possibly the greatest of all, of course.
Well, that's the next question I was going to ask you.
Yeah. See, Real Madrid, I think, were the greatest professional team that ever played, not only for their display in Glasgow, when they scored 7 goals against the German team. I saw them at Old Trafford one night in the European Cup. They'd won 3-0, I think, there, and they drew. We were winning 2-0 Old Trafford, and at the end of the game it was a draw. It was a pretty rough match. But they came back later and played a friendly, but really there's no friendlies when you play them. And Man United were marking man for man. And they beat Man United 5-1. And it wasn't Kento Copa Di Stefano, who was a magnificent man, and a big man incidentally, it was Di Stefano, big strong fella. Maybe there's nobody better than him. It was the players that you don't hear talked about. There was the centre-half from Uruguay, Santa Maria, jumped the height of the crossbar, at centre-back. Number 4, Real, a brilliant player. Nobody speaks about him at all. That night he was the one that caused all the damage at Old Trafford, Real. They took the markers out the way, they were marking man for man. So Stefano and them took the markers out the way and Real cut United to pieces. Not only could Copa play and Gento play and Puskas play, but the players that you don't mention, you don't hear them talking about Real, number 4, and Santa Maria. With Copa Gento, who could slice you apart, you know, with pace and cleverness. In the modern football, they'll get 4-4-2 against them, of course. If there's any such thing as modern football, I mean, I don't think there's any such thing as modern football. Times adjust and things change, and sometimes there's no wingers, and then there's no centre-backs. There's a shortage of all. There's always a shortage of a certain player. There's a shortage of wingers at the moment. There's a shortage of so-and-so. There's a shortage of strikers. I think that I must say that as a professional team, they were magnificent, individually and collectively. They could play it around in little rings if they wanted to play, all day long, the same as they can do now. They could, with the players that the teams are doing now at the back, building up at the back, they could do that up the front, outside the box, have a little game, and then have a shot at goal. So I would think Real was the best team that I've ever seen.
Let's talk about the great Liverpool players. Who were the great Liverpool players?
The Liverpool players. Talking about any other players is another story, but I don't like to put one in front of another, because for me, all my players were the best. They all gave everything they had, and I got as much for them as I could. I worked for them and they worked for me, and I'm loath to put one in front of another. I mean, I said that the beginning of Liverpool was Yeats and St John, and that's true. They all played well. I mean, there was Gerry Byrne. You don't hear many be talking about him, but Gerry Byrne was a fantastic player. Gerry Byrne did what nobody else in the world could have done. He played at Wembley for 2 hours with a broken collarbone. 5 minutes after the game started, he got it, and he played an hour and a half, then a half an hour. Now that we're talking about attention to detail, just before we go on about the rest of the players, we didn't give our hand away. Bob Paisley came off and he said to me, his collarbone's gone. So we just left him over in the left back position, holding his arm. Nobody knew that he's bad Bob Paisley, and me, till half time, the rest of them knew. And this had happened to me and Andy Beattie at Blackpool. We played for North End after the war, and Andy Beattie said at half time, I've strained a leg, you know. And I said, well, I'll leave it to Andy. He said, we might not get much to do, you know. I was playing right half, he was playing right back. I said, you might not get much to do, Andy. We'll take a chance on it, you know. And we fiddled through. And there wasn't much pressure on him, and he got through the game. And we didn't give our hand away. See, there was no substitutes then. You either went to another position, maybe stood around the pitch, you know, or you went off. So we got through the game. So when this happened at Wembley, from my past experience with Andy Beattie and myself, this happened. And I said to Bob, well, we'll just leave it. And at half time we knew it was broken. It was grinding, you know. The doctor was trying to freeze it, but couldn't. So we just let him stay there. Leeds United didn't know his collarbone was broken. So we kept it a secret. And he played for 2 hours nearly 2 hours with a broken collarbone. Now, if we'd have said, right, we're going to play him outside left now, we take him out the road, it's too dangerous. We took that chance at Wembley. And we got out of it. We won the cup.